Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boscheman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive podcast. In this episode, we are going to first take a look at the universal cycle for September 2022, and then we're going to break it down into each individual life path and take a look at those individual forecasts. This, of course, is a general reading. If you would like a personalized reading, please book some time with me. My information is in the description box below. Also want to mention that coaching sessions for numerology, coaching with numerology, are now available again via Zoom. So I had to take them down for a little bit for personal reasons, but they are back. So if you wanted to meet face-to-face to have those coaching sessions, they're available again. I have some spots left in September, so get them while they're hot. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at September's energy, what we're working with the numerology, and how best to use that to our advantage, right? Okay, so the universal cycle for September is a 15-6 energy. So collectively, the energy of September can bring about welcomed personal freedoms, as well as larger scale freedoms, like on a global scale. However, keep in mind, the lifting of restrictions or opportunities for great progress often requires some kind of radical change after a more chaotic culmination. So the more radical change allows for a shift or a release from present limitations, allowing for much freer expression and more room to move and breathe. So no one's saying that this is necessarily going to be easy, but what it's allowing for is worth moving through it. So this can be a cycle where experiences sort of assist us in moving away from very rigid, long-held beliefs, and new beliefs can then come in, right, and bring more peace while sort of eradicating old fears. So think of September as the liberator. It's bringing this very liberating energy with it. Now, of course, as I always say, the energy can be present, but it's always what we do with it that's going to make the difference. Like if we put in the effort, if we show up, if we try to work with this energy, we're going to see the greatest rewards. If we fight it, if we try to move away from it, we're still going to get to the other side of it. But it's not going to be as comfortable, and we're just not going to sort of reap what we want. We're going to reap what we sow, right? So this can be a period when we have to be very, very decisive and make very important decisions while deciding whether those choices are self-limiting or setting us free. So overly attaching or clinging to people, things that sort of put us in a space of servitude or obligation, that can create burnout and resentment. So be very mindful about what contracts or what agreements that you choose to enter into during this cycle. If it feels good and liberating, great, go for it. You have the green light, and you probably won't have buyer's remorse. But if it feels restrictive, if it feels burdensome, or you have concerns, maybe try and wait until after this energy sort of passes. So maybe wait until the next month, if you can, right? Until you feel better about it, or again, until you have more information, if you can do that. Of course, we have to live life. We don't base it on the numerology or astrology or psychic predictions or whatever. We have to do what feels right for us in the moment. So just take this as guidance and do with it what you want. I'd also say with this energy, there's a big focus on not judging a book by its cover, especially this month. Outward appearances when it comes to a situation, especially around close relationships and or home life, can sort of cause unnecessary heartaches, trouble in partnerships, or knee-jerk reactions that carry heavy repercussions. So try to dig a bit deeper beyond the illusion to better understand the situation more holistically. Communication is golden, period. Inner realities are more trustworthy than outward appearances. But the more that you can communicate, the more that you're open to communication, the more that you can work through more quickly and just move on. And it may be that the other person is not willing to communicate. That's okay. If you tried, that's all you need to do. But in every situation, communication and real true communication where both parties are able to speak their truth and be heard, whether or not you agree with each other, but just that opportunity for that respect of conversation, just can clear up so much and alleviate so much drama. So I would say, word to the wise, especially in September, if you have an opportunity to open a line of communication, I would say do it. But again, the catchphrase for September, I think, is inner realities are more trustworthy than outward appearances. So really trust your gut, dig deeper, go with how you feel, take your time if you can, and just take your time. Throughout September especially, try to find the lighter side to a situation if you can. Even when we're going through the most difficult of challenges, laughter or even just a smile can change that energy of the moment and lift spirits. Laughter truly is the best medicine, not to sound cliche, but it truly is. And where there's laughter, there's always light. So maybe watch funny movies, spend time with children or playful animals, or surround yourself with people who can just always seem to make you laugh or giggle. We underestimate, I think, the true power and the true energy of laughter, but it is more priceless than any materialistic item on the planet. And we always have access to it. That's the thing. It's just we have to be willing to try to tap into it. When we can find our own ways of sort of looking beyond the limitations of circumstances, we bring about peace and satisfying solutions to that situation. So laughter cleanses the soul and can lead to physical healing. Laughter is a form of freedom. I'm going to say it again because I truly do believe it. Laughter is a form of freedom. So that's your forecast for September for the collective with the universal energies. Let's go ahead and take a look at the numerology and the energies for each individual life path number. Life path number 5. So I pulled an animal spirit message for you all for September, and you got condor energy. And I love this. This is such a powerful energy. This is like right up there with eagle. There's definitely, it's kind of like King of Swords energy. It's very decisive energy, which is so funny because it's so aligned with the energies, like the undercurrent energies that you all are working with for September, which I'll talk about in a moment. But it's this very decisive. It's very much like owning your power, like standing in your power, like knowing that the decisions that you make are what is best for you, and it's non-negotiable, right? Like you'll entertain other people's ideas and their contributions, but you know yourself well enough to know, yes, this will work for me. No, this won't. Yes, I want to participate in this. No, I don't. It's a very like demands respect kind of energy. It's like standing in your truth, knowing your truth, speaking your truth, demanding that other people respect your truth. And if they don't respect it, then they don't really need to be a part of your circle type thing. It's a very it's a very strong energy. And again, it's like this like energy of like final authority. It's kind of like, what I say about my life goes, and either you're on board with it or you're not, but I get the final say. I have the final authority when it comes to me, when it comes to my experience. And so if there's been an experience where someone else has tried to manipulate, tried to overly influence, tried to take the reins when it comes to you or your creative projects or your family, whatever, anything to do with like you and your space, Condor is coming in and like cutting through the bullshit. And it's kind of like, you know what? I have final authority on this, especially when it comes to you or your creative projects, like your creative output. There's also something with Condor that's like, just a reminder, it's a very smart, intelligent being. So there's something here about like a brilliant mind. And so you may notice this month, like brilliant ideas coming through for you. Trust them. Trust those ideas, because especially when I talk about the energies that you're working with this month, because it's right aligned with the numerology. Trust the big ideas that come in and focus your energy to find ways to bring that into the physical, because you are working with incredibly big energies this month, fives. And that is just sort of like brought home completely by Condor coming through. So beautiful energies. Okay. So with September, you all are working with undercurrent energies of the 11-2. 11 is a master level energy. So it is big energy, just like Condor Spirit. It is big energy. So this cycle can require sort of like quick decisions and decisiveness. So again, we come back to this energy of trusting yourself and having the final authority. Events occurring now can feel like really exciting. There can be like a lot of like electricity behind whatever comes in for you. It can kind of feel like, again, it can feel like big energy. So be really careful not to be too impulsive. Be decisive, but take your time and focus your energy when deciding. So, 5 energy, and I speak from experience. I have a ridiculous amount of 5 energies throughout my chart. So I feel like I'm basically a 5. So I get it. There's a lot, there's usually a lot coming in, and it usually feels exciting, and it's like electricity, and it's just a fast moving energy to be a 5, right? And so sometimes it can be like this more scattered energy where it's hard to like focus the energy and to not be impulsive, but to take our time in making those decisions and then trusting ourselves when we do make those decisions. This month especially, again, is going to really ask you to focus that energy, to be decisive and to take your time, to not be too impulsive, and to focus that energy when you're deciding so that you don't feel as scattered, and so that you're not kind of going back and forth like, did I make the right decision? I feel like I made it too quick. This is going to be a time to really dig deep and make sure that you feel good about whatever decision you're making. You might not have all the answers. There might not be full clarity. But honor and trust whatever the driving force is that's leading you to make this decision, right? A shift in attitude during this month could really make a world of difference in creating sort of desirable results around something. So if there's something where it's like you've maybe been in a funk about it, or you've been like in your mind too much about it and creating stories, a shift in that sort of that mindset, that attitude could make a world of difference in creating more desirable results, right? Even if it's just changing the narrative, like changing the story in your mind so that you're not constantly beating yourself up or punching yourself in the face with your own stories, right? And even if there's something that is actually happening, again, it's like what we talked about in the intro, not necessarily trusting everything that you see. There's more about like trusting the energy of the situation, and changing that narrative a little bit to where it's like, okay, if someone treats you poorly, just remember that there is probably a lot going on within that person. So it really probably didn't have a whole lot to do with you. It may have something to do with you, but you're just going to waste your time like beating yourself up over it, because you have no control over it. You absolutely have no control over what other people think of you, what other people do. You have zero control over that. No matter how hard you try to explain yourself, no matter how much you try to make them believe something about you that's true about you, if they have it in their mind totally different, guess what they're going to believe, right? Just like you would. So for the most part. So there's just something here about changing your attitude, shift your attitude, so that you can get different results from that experience. You don't have any control over the other person or the other people, but you do have control over sort of how you view it, how much you're going to take responsibility for it, how much you're going to beat yourself up for it, all of that. With the 11-2 energy, you may also see legal dealings surface at this time. So this is a time potentially for settlements, for contracts of any kind. Anything that's a binding contract could come into focus now. So maybe you're starting a new job and you're signing some kind of a contract, or you're taking on a new project, or you're getting new clients, or you're opening a business, or you're buying or selling a house or land or property or whatever, right? Anything where contracts fall or agreements could come into place. Also partnerships. So there's also this level of like soul contracts coming through as well. So you may see people come into your life at this time who are very significant. So pay attention to the people who come in at this time. And also I would say, be careful about, take your time before entering any contracts is if you can, right? Like obviously live your life, do what you got to do. Use this as a guide, but if you can take your time in signing any contracts, I would say maybe hold off on doing that until after September. But if you have to sign contracts, that's fine. Just make sure you're reading the fine print and that you feel fully confident that you are being represented in the way that you want to be represented. Because remember, Condor energy, it's not going to take any shit. But of course, of signing a contract, you are sort of committing yourself to something potentially long-term. So just make sure that it's what you want to be doing, right? So I hope it is a powerful month for you all. I think it will be. It's certainly the energy is there for it. So again, it's what we do with it, but I hope it's a beautiful month for you all. Take care, fives. Bye for now.